I ended up going to Tufts for dental school in Boston, did my residency, matched for residency here in LA at Cedars-Sinai. It just got me into the Beverly Hills area practicing a lot.
Can you talk about big names that had been in your clinic?
Like Caitlyn Jenner, John Stamos.
Why do you think it was like you had that little bit of a fear of going solo?
It was just so much to handle. I guess you don't really know what it's like till you actually have to do it. You just don't know what you're capable of. I did all the paperwork and everything for opening the practice during the lockdown. Actually, it was the best time for me because we had nothing to do at that time. So I had all the time in the world to actually pull it all together and get everything going.
What I'm super interested in is how you actually promoted your clinic.
Working with people that you kind of feel like you can trust and connect with, kind of using your intuition more and testing things out and seeing what works. Now social media exists and there's Google, and I just try to cover all my bases in terms of marketing online with whatever looks like it's kind of hot.
Welcome to another episode. I think this is one of the first episodes of Dental Dialogue where we speak about everything to do with dentistry. My name is Josue Simo. I have my co-host with me, David Nies, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have the commonly claimed best cosmetic dentist in the whole of Beverly Hills. We have Dr. Rajpal. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, how did we find you? I think you have more experience.
Yeah, I think definitely when you look up like one of the most known dentists in the US, your face definitely pops up, especially also when you read some news articles. And yeah, we just thought we want to reach out to you to actually talk to you since when we did our research, we saw that you actually first of all offer a lot of different treatments, and on top of that you have a wide range of different patients, also especially in the area where you are working, special patients as well. And yeah, we just wanted to get to know more about you, and maybe you just want to give a short rundown on who you are, how you came to be a dentist, and how that started out.
Sure. So my background is I grew up in Michigan, went to undergrad there, University of Michigan. And then I was doing pre-med because my dad's a doctor, my sister is a doctor, but there was nothing in medicine that was grabbing me. And I also loved art. My mom's really artistic, and I was always doing art. So I found that dentistry was kind of a mix of those two things. So it ended up being the perfect fit for me because I love working with my hands. So I ended up going to Tufts for dental school in Boston, did my residency, matched for residency here in LA at Cedars-Sinai. And it just got me into this area. So because Cedars is it's basically in Beverly Hills, but technically LA. It just got me into the Beverly Hills area practicing a lot. So I was working in a lot of different offices, getting experience. And then I really wanted to have my own office, but I was terrified to have a solo office. I didn't feel like I had it in me at all to run an office at all, to be honest. I was terrified by the responsibility, and I just thought it was going to be so overwhelming. So I started building a client base in another guy's office, who is older. And then over time, I decided to venture out on my own, finally opened my own thing 4 years ago. And so I kind of had a little bit of a patient base already. So I moved them over, and then I grew it a lot from there.
So just 4 years ago that you had your own practice.
And that I had my own practice in my own space.
Okay.
Because I kind of had my own practice going in someone else's space, but of course, it's not the same thing. I'm not the one that hires staff, that orders
Yeah.
supplies. Like none of it is under my control. So the only thing I had under my control was I was allowed to put up some cool artwork, but now
Your own one. Was it your own one?
but now none of that artwork is there anymore. But I have tons of really cool artwork up in my office because I'm, as you know, it's Beverly Hills Dental Arts. I'm very art oriented, so I just always want to be surrounded by art and like cool art. So yeah, that's been nice too, to actually be able to have like my own design, decor, everything. So I feel it feels like more like my style, my kind of home, somewhere I want to be all day.
Yes.
Why do you think it was like you had that, I guess, a little bit of a fear of going solo?
Because I don't know, it seemed like it was just so much to handle. I guess you don't really know what it's like till you actually have to do it. And you just don't know what you're capable of. So it's just, yeah, it's just your own preconceived notions of what something is like. And until you actually do it, you have no idea what it's like. So it was like a lot initially because I did all the paperwork and everything for opening the practice during the lockdown. So I was actually, it sounds like a crazy time and like the worst time to do it.
It does, it really does.
But actually it was the best time for me because we had nothing to do at that time. So I had all the time in the world to actually put everything together, pull it all together and get everything going. If I was still working and trying to juggle all of that, it would have been a nightmare. So I actually like really appreciated the lockdown.
Yeah,
Even though I wasn't watching Netflix like everybody else was.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. And then after that, basically, you just started working in your own clinic. And how quick, and what I'm super interested in is how you actually also promoted your clinic, because I see that there are a lot of newspaper articles and your name is really out there, which I think is a great thing that a lot of dentists nowadays are underestimating. And how was that for you, especially since you said you're from the artistic side? Most dentists that I know that are having, let's say, the skill like you have in putting your name out there are mostly having a background in business or something. So how did that come about?
I mean, I wouldn't say I have like the greatest business sense. It's literally just like kind of using your intuition more and testing things out and seeing what works and just rolling with anything that working with people that you kind of feel like you can trust and connect with. I've definitely worked with some wrong people and some right people. So I think the more you're testing things out and the more you just basically become wiser as you go along. I mean, we still all make stupid mistakes at times, but for the most part, you hone down your intuition and your wisdom a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, marketing makes no sense to me, really. It's kind of like it's changed so much over the years. Obviously, like back in the day before things were digital, people were just doing mailers and word of mouth, and then digital stuff started happening, and then it was like reviews on Yelp, and then things like that were helpful, and then social media didn't exist. Now social media exists, and there's Google, and so a lot of I just try to cover all my bases in terms of marketing online with whatever looks like it's kind of hot. So I'm on social media as much as I have the energy to be on it. And Google and you know, just wherever, YouTube, just wherever people are going to be
Yeah.
on when they're
Yeah.
looking for things digitally.
Yeah.
And then honestly, word of mouth is still the
Paramount.
best way,
Yeah.
because those patients they already feel like they know you and can trust you. It's just a given. So that's the other kind of cool thing about having digital um visibility as well, because you can actually show who you are as best as you can, and people, even though they may not have heard of me from word of mouth, they kind of already feel like they know me because they've been watching what I've been talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you
And
kind of already have a little bit of a rapport.
have
Yeah.
you made that like a conscious decision to like be more open with your Instagram, or is that just something that's just come across like naturally?
Just
Because you
naturally,
can see it really
honestly.
when you look at your content.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of just like, my patients are mostly fun, cool patients, and I just am having fun during the day, and just decided to feature whatever I'm doing, so you kind of feel like you're here with us,
Yeah.
or if
When
you do come, you kind of have the vibe, so you kind of get how it's gonna be.
Yeah, when I saw the first video of yours, like it was with the patient, like kind of your testimonials are different. They're not the classical. I put the phone and the patients are uncomfortable. I was like, is this an act? Like I was not sure if it was a real patient, because I was so surprised that it was so natural. And I think that's really yeah, a great way of doing, let's say, testimonials. And also one thing that I wanted to ask, because that's something that a lot of people ask us currently in our situation, where we now move on and we, of course, are in the social media world. How was it in the beginning? Like, was it for you sometimes difficult to even step in front of camera, or were you afraid, or was it really from the get-go, like the content we see today?
I don't really remember, but I was probably it was probably not as easy when I first started, I guess, or I just didn't really know how to put things together, or what would what would work, but it's just been fun all along. So
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not really uncomfortable in front of the camera.
Mhm.
Maybe I should be, but I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
not a
No, it's
big
good.
deal.
It's good to
It's
do
not
that.
a big
No,
deal
it's
to me.
great.
It's like
Yeah.
all of us are always filming our lives. Just nowadays, it's like you're always showing what you're doing in general. So it's just,
Yeah.
oh, I'm at work this time instead of out in hiking or
Yeah.
whatever. So it's the same thing, kind of. You're already used to being on your phone. Everybody's doing it all the
Yeah.
time.
Having social media is a great thing, and as you said, it's really important for showing off like the person who's behind the scrubs to the people that you like, the patients that you have or future patients. But like in the area that you're in Beverly Hills, it must be like super competitive. So like, isn't everybody doing social media? Like, how are you differentiating yourself? Because you clearly are.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not one that spends a lot of time on social media. I do film stuff and do whatever I do and post it, but I don't actually myself spend a lot of time scrolling through
Mm-hmm.
it. It's not in me to sit there and do it all the time. So I don't really know what a lot of the other dentists are doing on a regular basis. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
a little clueless about what everybody else is doing. I mean, occasionally I might see one or two things, but I just don't really, it's kind of like my own little space. I'm doing what I do, and whatever anyone else is doing, good for them. That's their personality, that their style, but we're just showcasing what we do. So yeah, of course there's a million dentists here, a million plastic surgeons here, and yeah, some people's accounts are way bigger than others. Some people's content are way better than others. Like, social media doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense to me, because it's not always the best content, obviously, that does the best. It's
Yeah.
just however like the algorithm is working. So
Yeah.
I mean, dentistry obviously can be somewhat of a boring topic to the general public. So it's just trying to see like what do people actually feel like listening to or watching. And it's
Yeah.
all hit or miss. Like it'll make no sense what things do well and what things do poorly, or
Hmm.
in terms of visibility. But you kind of just keep doing it, and whatever it does, like it does. You kind of can't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
For
you find that
we
often.
Yeah, for the big names that you also had in your clinic, our question is, do you think it's due to the location, just that it happened that those people started walking into the office? Um, or how did that came about that you, let's say, had more and more of like known people in the dental clinic?
Aside from the fact, obviously, that you're a good dentist, that
Yeah.
Yeah,
put
I
that
mean,
aside.
obviously location definitely helps, because being in Beverly Hills, people come to me from all over the world or all over the country.
Hmm.
It's kind of like an acceptable thing for people to be doing that. Um, and obviously reputation matters, because there are a ton of dentists in Beverly Hills, but you're gonna want to go to one that you actually think is really good.
Yeah.
Um, so it doesn't, obviously there's really good dentists in all different cities all over the world. So yeah, there will be big names going to other cities and locations as well. But being in Beverly Hills, I think they're expecting a certain caliber baseline to start with anyways.
Hmm.
So they know that we'll probably be practicing at a higher caliber, or at least that would be expected. Um, but then of course my credentials, my education, my experience, the
Hmm.
quality of care that I provide, like I am naturally going to always make sure that I'm practicing like as top tier as possible. So
Hmm.
even if I'm in Beverly Hills, I want to be practicing at the best, highest possible level that I can in
Yeah.
this city.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, most of my bigger names, it's just because I've been practicing in this area for so long, and I've built up a patient population a lot that through the years. So this city has like it's founded on the entertainment industry, or it's
Yeah.
such a
Mm.
huge part of it. So naturally, just people that are working, patients that are working in the industry, like it's just led to some of them coming in.
Okay.
I don't know.
And yeah,
It just kind of naturally happened. It's not like I did anything special. It's
special.
just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of like flowed and came on its own for the most part.
Yeah. Can you talk about big names that had been in your clinic? Because I'm
I
just
mean,
curious about it. I mean the ones that had been in testimonials or something.
yeah, just whoever you've seen on my Instagram, like, I mean, like Caitlyn Jenner, John Stamos, a lot of the bachelors, they haven't been on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know, whoever you see on there, there's
Yeah. Yeah,
there's a
that's
couple.
really do they also refer each other, or is it just that
They
that
must
they
do,
come?
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, because it's the same. They're like any other patient. So if they enjoy being here, they'll tell their friends, and their friends will come.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Hmm.
same thing as all my regular patients. But I mean, you never know who a regular patient is going to be either. Like some of my patients have become bigger over the years, just starting from smaller things, because things are always changing.
Mm.
Yeah. And
So yeah.
with the baseline that you mentioned before, to go to a location like Beverly Hills, do you mean like the quality? Because for me, it would be difficult to understand how the ordinary people would, like, let's say, on the first glimpse, realize that. Or do you mean in terms of the treatments that you offer, that people can already tell, like, oh, okay.
I mean, if someone is going to go to a store or a hotel or a restaurant in Beverly Hills, they're going to expect it to be not 2-star or 3-star. They're gonna already
Mm.
know that it should be a certain level. It's
Mhm.
just kind of a given because nobody can afford rent here if they're doing substandard stuff.
Mm.
So so yeah, it's kind of a given that you're not that you should walk into a nice place with good service
Yeah.
and things like that. You're
Yeah.
not gonna you're not gonna expect to have like really poor quality and really shabby conditions and
Mhm.
so my point is like they're kind of expecting already to have like a decent level of care.
Mhm.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a given that it should be a certain caliber.
And
Yeah.
what I mean, you build up a huge database of patients over time, um, and you've obviously got a lot of people who are referring you, and you're in a great area and location itself. For people who are kind of just graduated, and they're looking to maybe open up their practice, or they've been working as an associate somewhere else, and they're opening something by themselves, what kind of advice would you give them, or like, how is it that they can reach the level maybe that you've reached right now in this age where it's not so easy to get things like referrals and it's more digital? Like, what would you say to them?
I mean, I don't know what's easy. I don't think it's super easy to get digital or referrals. Like I don't really know which one is easier.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's you just have to be a little bit patient because I obviously thought, oh, everything can go super fast, super quick. It's super like I don't know. You just have to be a little bit patient because if you want to build a quality practice, you're going to want to build it on quality people that will stay with you through the long term
Yeah.
because dentistry is based on we're not like other doctors. We actually form these bonds with our patients and they stay with us through the years. So that's
Mm.
honestly one of the reasons I became a dentist because I wanted to build a rapport with patients. So I think I would say it might take a while. Don't get frustrated. Just focus on building relationships with your patients so that they want to stay with you through the years because there's no point trying to just build a short, quick, fast thing that dissolves after a few years. You have to be thinking long term. So,
Mhm.
I mean, usually the way to start a practice is either you're starting it from scratch or you're buying an existing practice. Um, Mine, I would say, was basically from scratch, but I was starting it in someone else's office. So I didn't have an insane amount of overhead to that burden as much as it would have been if I just opened by myself with nothing. So
Mm.
I don't think that what I did is a bad idea. Like if it's someone that just they me I luckily didn't have a lot of student loans or anything, but a lot of people do have a lot of student loans.
Yeah.
So to buy a practice like so early on and accumulate another set of student loans, maybe it's too much right away. So I think the most important thing in the first few years is getting experience because no matter what you think you know coming out of dental school, I don't even know how well everybody's trained after this whole COVID situation. You guys may not have had as much patient experience
Fun.
as we did when we
Yeah.
were in dental school. But no matter
Mm.
what, like you're seeing one patient every 4 hours in dental school. It's not like
Mm.
the same thing
Yeah.
as private practice. So I wouldn't get ahead of yourself. I would work in several different offices like I did, and you'll see some people you work for you respect, some people you work for you don't want to practice like them at all.
Yeah.
And you'll kind of just learn different ways of doing things in different styles of offices and just being, even if you think a doctor you work for is maybe not as great or you're the perfect mentor for you, maybe they'll have like a couple different tricks or things that may actually be helpful that you can pick up and use that you didn't learn in dental school. You would not learn it if you were on your own. So I feel like you can learn something from everybody that you work with, at least a couple things, and it will just end up helping you develop your toolbox of techniques and materials and all of that you feel comfortable with. And then also just working on so many different types of patients, because all these different doctor offices, all the doctors have completely different personalities. So in the effect, their patient population ends up being completely different as well. So you'll also learn what it's like to work on all these different personality types, because you need to know how to bond with all different types of people. So it is important to just gain experience in all different styles of dentistry, and not just think, oh, I already know everything, I should open my practice right away and go for it. I think experience is so important, because it's just like years of working that you hone down your skills and you become better and better and better. You're not going to get that after a year or two. Like it really does take some time of just being in the chair every day working, that you'll have mistakes happen, you'll do things wrong, and you'll learn from every single mistake. So it's actually really good to make mistakes, because you learn how to improve from there.
That's great. I like that piece of advice. Like even when you harken back a little bit, when you said that it's good to work under loads of different doctors, some people you would like, some people you would not like so much, but either way, you'll get to find out what you don't want to do in your practice, or maybe they'll give you some tips and tricks on things that you maybe should do, or things that you're like, okay, look, I'll maybe introduce that in my practice in the future. Would you say that you have any tips or tricks, or are there any things that you can maybe give away that's helped your practice flourish and grow, or gain patients really well, or retain them also?
I mean, I think it's just showing up every day and giving the best quality care that you possibly can, and forming bonds with your patients, and just taking great care of them, and just constantly taking CE, so you learn the latest on everything, so you're up to date with everything, using the best of everything. And I don't know, you just keep doing it day after day, and it just kind of grows on its own. And I don't really know any tips or tricks that I would say that worked. It's just kind of like, I don't know, you just kind of roll along with it.
Yeah, sometimes, but everyone wants to hear the fancy stuff. They want to hear like
Yeah,
something crazy that they've never
it's
heard
secret.
before, that they can introduce immediately, and there's like
Yeah.
20 implant patients in the next week. But
Yeah.
they don't know that you just have to knuckle down and really just do the same
Yeah, I
thing
think it's a
day
lot
in, day
about the
out, and work hard.
practitioner. It's so much about the character also. It's about how you work. And the interaction, I think, is a huge component in that. Like, I mean, it's small details. Oftentimes, I mean, as a student, I think everyone knew when you work with for example, you were in a treatment room with a professor, and the way when they treated the patient not that well, and you could see the reactions. It's very small differences, I think, between practitioners that make one group of people really fall in love with the dentist, and the other group really saying like, look, I can't handle that person. Yeah.
That's why, like I said, you just want to get experience working with patients, so you kind of learn how to handle all different types of people as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the talk, and for sharing your experience with us.
Of course.
Yeah. So for everyone else, don't forget to give this video a like, and also to subscribe if you want to see more of this content. Thank you so much. And
your details,
the
doctor, will be down below also, so they can come check you out.
Perfect.
If they're ever in Beverly Hills, they can go to the best cosmetic dentist there.
Yes.
It's Beverly Hills Dental Arts.
Fantastic.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you guys for your time.